Hi everyone, welcome back. From your work, social, and home life, things can of course get pretty hectic around the holidays. So I am joined here this morning with Dr. Patty Ann Tublin, who is here to answer your questions for her Tuesday Tips for Success. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, our first question comes from Jason in Milford. He asks, there's a woman that I work with whom I find really attractive, and I want to ask her out on a date, but with all the harassment stories we've been seeing in the news, I don't know if I should. Can you please help me? Because I really like her.
Okay, so that question was so timely and appropriate. So here's my first tip for Jason. First, find out if your company has a dating policy at work. Some companies have a off limits. You cannot date anybody that you work with. I'm not really sure how they can enforce that, but if they say that you shouldn't be dating anybody, then I would suggest you don't. If there's no policy, then I would suggest that if you ask the woman out on a date and you start to date right after the first date, let people in the office, let the management know that you're dating. And I would actually suggest, this is my own advice that I've told companies that I've consulted with, put something in writing saying all of a sudden now we're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right.
Because if the relationship goes south and you break up, you don't want somebody to do some revisionistic history and say, well, I really didn't want to be doing these things.
Right.
I was forced. It can get a little tricky, but
right.
Find out if there's a policy, and if there's not a policy against it, it's okay, but I would make the relationship public.
All right, that's great advice. Question number 2 comes from Heather in Orange. She asks, I had my annual review 2 weeks ago, and although I had a great performance review, I didn't get the bonus I was hoping for. What should I do?
Okay, this comes up a lot too this time of year. And it's interesting that it's Veronica, because women seem to have a difficult time asking for a raise or to get paid what they're worth. So what I would suggest is go back to the person that you had the review with and ask them if they have any time to talk about a career succession planning. Not necessarily say you want to talk about the bonus that you weren't happy with, but career succession. And get that on the calendar, because the ship has already sailed. You already did not get what you thought you deserved. And write down everything that you did during the year that exceeded normal expectations, right? You can't expect a phenomenal bonus if you just met expectations. But if you went above and beyond, most companies will compensate you for that financially. So have that in writing, set up a meeting, have the appointment, talk about your career trajectory, and then talk about how you were disappointed with your bonus for 2017 and what specific objectives do you have to meet for 2018 to increase that bonus.
You have to go about it in a certain way, but be your own advocate is what it sounds like. Something won't just be handed to you most of the time.
No, listen, it's a relationship, an employer and employee, right? They employ you and you perform, but you can make a case for it, but if you don't advocate for yourself, nobody else will.